Hey guys, Dave here. Super excited today. We're going to be building a battery for this guy right here, the SX500. The SX500 is going to have a 26 amp hour battery. We're going to do something a little bit different. I've been buying my batteries from either IMR batteries or 18650batterystore.com. I decided to go for some used batteries. So Micah Atoll, I think is his name. He runs the electric website. He mentioned in one of his videos that I was watching about batteries is that he uses battery hookup. So I'm going to try batteryhookup.com to purchase some used batteries, which I have done. And they come out of all sorts of things. I think this came out of some type of medical equipment or something. I'm not quite sure. I don't really care. They say they were never cycled, so they didn't cycle down or cycle up, but these should be 18650 batteries, 3300 milliamp hours. The issue with these is that they only have like 4.7 to 4.8 amp maximum load. So if I'm going to be pulling 30 amps, I need to have like 7 of them in parallel. That's not an issue though, because we're going to put 10 in parallel. So we're going to have 40 amps that we can pull from, or close to 50 amps, I guess. But we only have a 33 amp controller, so that's not going to be an issue. So let's unpack these and let's figure this out. Let's see what it looks like. So this is where we're at so far. We've taken one apart, we've done a little Dremel on the top. I'm still not quite sure how exactly I want to connect these together. I know I want to put them in series. All of these are going to be going in series, so we're going to have negative to positive to make it a series connection. So I need to figure out how I want to put them together so that's all going to work really nicely. And that I guess I need a couple of these taken apart. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so this is going to take quite a bit of time. We're just going to be working on this. Remember, I've got to have my sense wires for every single one. Each one of these is 7.2 volts, so we have 2 cells in each one of these. So I need to do 2. I'm doing 2 on the bottom. I'm going to stack 3 on the next section. And then I'm going to stack 2 more on top of that to finish it up. And that should fit in the bike. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do. So what we need to do now is we're going to take this one apart, and we need to figure out how it's going to go, what orientation would be best to stack it we're already at 14 volts, which is pretty cool. Just need to connect everything up and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, thanks, and enjoy the time lapse. Okay, we're about halfway here. We need to add the BMS, but we're done with the construction. This is what it's going to be like when it's sitting inside the SX500. Kind of a weird shape, but it's going to fit really well once we're finished with it. So we're going to be wrapping it with tape and some packaging and making it all work. And let's just get this finished. Hey guys, we're finished, so let's take a look at this. All right, so we have the positive and negative, the XT90 connector right here. We have our positive main, we have all the connections running over to the BMS. So we're not gonna use the charge negative because we already have a connection over here. We're gonna use everything is gonna go through the battery management, or everything is gonna go through the controllers. The controller's quite a bit larger because it has to handle 48 volts. In this case, one of these is going to be our charge connectors, and we're going to connect it up to this little guy right here. That's going to give us access to this XLR plug right here, and it's going to be great. So really all we have left to do is wrap this. I don't have any shrink wrap that's this big, but that's fine. I just need to wrap everything in Captain tape and put it all together. So once this gets, all these wires kind of get put away, it'll look quite a bit nicer. But kind of giving you an overview of what we're looking at. We're taking all these positives. We're using the positive wires or the negative wires to connect up to the BMS. Mostly we're using the positive wires because going from the negative side or the positive side, it's the same voltage. So I just opted for, most of the time when it was accessible, I was just using the positive wire aside from this battery negative wire, which I had to use. In fact, I don't think I ever used a black wire, so we have a couple of wires still sticking out here. Instead of using this negative wire, I use the positive wire. We're gonna cut those and then we're gonna tuck it in, so we'll go do that. Hey guys, we're back. We've got the battery in place and we're trying to get it working on the actual bike. So let's go take a look at it. Got my work surface. All right, got the bike. All right, here's the battery. Put a little bit of tape on it. It's not its final form. We're just doing a general fit test. We've got plenty of clearance here. We need to make sure that it's gonna fit width-wise, and we need to figure out how we're gonna connect this up to our XLR connector. There's this orange and black cable. It's called the electronic lock. I guess that's used for like a key or something, and the bike will not run unless these two wires are crossed. So what I want to do is I want to see if I can get it to work with this right here. So with this on-off switch, I want to punch it into there. So when I hit on, it'll turn everything on and we can just rock and roll just like we did with the other one. We're just going to connect the battery. Everything else is connected. All we have is the battery, the phase wires, we have the Hall sensor wires right here, and then we have our throttle, and that's really it. So what I'm gonna do is, for that key, I'm just gonna jump those two wires right now. Okay, it's been jumped, so it should be live. So let's try this out. Lift up the rear. It's really fast. Cool. Yeah, works well. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this, we're gonna send this through the center right here, and then we're gonna connect this all up. The interesting thing about this is the controller is gonna be sitting on the outside of this now, and then it's gonna have a lot of wind on it, so it's gonna be quite a bit of cooling for it, which is really good. Today we're going to be doing the first ride on our SX500. I'm super excited about it. We've got the 26 amp hour lithium ion battery completely built. It's sitting in there. We have the controller all configured, and the actual motor is an 1800 watt 48 volt motor, so we're not overvolting the motor anymore, so we're not going to have the overheating issues that we had prior. Now, a couple things I wanted to mention about the actual battery pack, which is really cool. So we're using these batteries. We got them off of batteryhookup.com. Pretty cool. That's the little thingy they sent me. I'd never purchased from Battery Hookup before. They're used batteries, and I was a little bit concerned about them, but I ended up getting batteries that have never been cycled. They're actually these batteries right here. They're a Samsung 18650. They're 26J batteries, and they're really, really good cells. They're a few years old, but I'm not quite sure exactly how old they are, but they seem to have a lot of life left. I did a test on the VC4 Plus. I'll throw it up right over here. It ended up having 2558 amp hours of usable life, and I did that testing using my VC4 Plus, and what ended up happening is it's rated for 2600 milliamp hours. So generally when you purchase a new 18650, it's going to be slightly higher than the rated capacity. These are slightly lower. We still get 98% battery capacity of what it's rated for, which is excellent for a used battery. So these are ready to rock and roll. We got them for about $100 for a kilowatt hour, and we have 26 amp hours. We have 1.28 kilowatt hours, I think, available to us. We have a lot of capacity, and it's going to be interesting to see just kind of how it is. So we're not actually going to be testing capacity today. We're not going to do a range test. We might do a top speed test, but this is really just the first ride on this, and let's go check it out. It's going to be awesome. All right, so we're here, we're ready to go. This is the actual system right here. We have our 1800 watt motor. Everything's ready to go. As you can see, we're sitting at 54.2 volts resting. That's a little lower than 54.6. It's not quite fully charged, but it's ready to go. We have an on-off switch right here. Let's just click this on, and we're ready to rock and roll. So let's just test this thing out. Oh, whoa. Oh, wow. It's got a lot of power initially right on that get-go. Boom. All right, can you see the voltage when we're under load? 51 volts, so we're only getting a 3 volt drop. Oh, this thing's fast. We gotta be going 25 miles an hour. Whew, that was uphill. All right, I think it's time to do a speed test. I really do. Okay, let's do a top speed run. Oh my gosh, that has a lot of torque when you first get going. My goodness. So this is on a slight downhill. And we're capped out, 28 miles an hour. Okay, let's be really gentle on this throttle. Let's start out. Oh gosh, it's so touchy. It's got a lot of torque low end. All right, 25. This is really cool. 26, we're going uphill. 27, 27 miles an hour uphill. 28 going downhill. Really, the top speed for me on this particular sprocket is 27 miles an hour, and that's plenty. I like having, 27 is fine for top speed for this guy. If I wanted to go faster, I would just change the sprocket out. But right now we're super torquey. So if we just, I don't know, let's just try it out on the grass, I guess. Just kind of, yeah, it pulls pretty good. It's not going to pull super hard. Okay, so in the dirt. Oh, man. Woo! All right. All right, I need to put this phone away so I can enjoy myself a little bit more, because we are hauling. Okay. So we'll put this away and we'll just talk about the build a little bit. Let's go do some stuff. Gosh, that initial kick is so strong. This is awesome. All right, so this is what the Razor scooter should be like. This is the optimal experience, I believe, for a Razor scooter, is the 48 volt configuration. I had the thought, because I could have made a 72 volt battery with the exact same batteries that I had. I opted not to do that. 72 volts in this type of form factor, for me, that's just a little too crazy. And I've watched some YouTube videos of people, and it kicks so hard and it wants to lift the front wheel so much that I just felt like that would be a little too much, especially because I want to have my kids ride this around. And this is too much for my kids. That initial kick on this is just way too much. I need to put a 3-speed controller on this, but it's working really well. My goodness, this is really cool. And it's when you're not starting from a dead stop, it doesn't feel like a whole ton of power. It's just it's a 48 volt, 1800 watt. It pulls pretty hard up to about 20 miles an hour, and then it just kind of creeps from 20 onward. I do like the fact that it's full suspension. It actually feels more comfy than I think any other bike that I have on these bumps. Oh, I really like the full suspension. Even though it's like a 1-inch suspension, it's really great. That rear suspension, oh, that hit pretty hard. Got to be a little careful on those bumps. I'm going really fast. I'm going 25. It's kind of hard to remember that I'm going so fast. I'm just flying. Oh gosh. I'm going so fast. Woo! All right. Let's go a more leisurely pace. Yeah, this should be fine. I mean, I'm not going to have any range anxiety with this sucker. Let's try this dead stop again. It just feels like it kicks so hard. That wasn't bad at all. I don't know why. It's like, maybe I'm just not like ready for it. It doesn't pull that hard. It's just, maybe I'm not just ready for it, and it just takes me, catches me off guard initially. Okay, when I first did it, it just pulled so hard. Okay, it's just a little tick. It's not crazy. I may have been overreacting initially. It just surprised me so much because it's this instant torque, and it's such a tiny little little motorcycle that it caught me off guard really a lot. But if I'm ready for a ton of power, and I'm like 1, 2, 3, it doesn't kick off the line very fast, and it doesn't feel like a ton of power. It's not lifting the front wheel if I'm sitting up forward on it. It might want to if I'm sitting on the wheel. Let's try on the wheel. Yeah, it'll lift the front wheel without me even trying. Yeah, no problem. Front wheel just comes right up if you sit kind of back in a more comfortable position. I'm sitting right up in the middle, kind of in between it. And that makes it so it doesn't even lift up the front wheel. So if my girls were sitting on it, it's gonna lift the front wheel, no problem with them. Which is why I need a 3-speed controller. Okay, that's pretty much it. I gotta go back to work. I just wanted to I've been sitting at a computer for a while, and I wanted to take a quick break, and I thought, well, if I just take a quick break, might as well go out and make a quick video on this, just to see what's up. I also want to try and heat up the motor just a little bit, just to see if there's, see if I can just run it. I shouldn't have an issue with the motor overheating anymore, but I did want to check on that. Oh, it's got a good amount of power. This is a pretty steep hill, and it just cruises up that hill. Oh man, my daughter's gonna have so much power on this. Okay, let's stop in the shade real quick. Woo! All right, my goodness. Okay, that was the first ride on this bike. Let's feel the motor. Motor's warm. Motor's warm. It's not hot. And it's a hot day. I imagine the motor is going to get, you know, more warm as I ride it around. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.